Recently, Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James had a confrontation with ESPN media personality Stephen A. Smith. There was this video that went viral of LeBron speaking to Stephen A., and let's just say LeBron didn't look super happy in the conversation. Now, the conversation was brief, and if we're keeping it real, I don't think it was much of a conversation at all. LeBron essentially said, "Keep my son out of this stuff, bro," and walked away before Stephen A. took his side of the story to every camera he could find on Earth. Now, of course, put either of these two men's names in a headline, and you're likely to get some hits on a website. Put them together, and those hits increase. Oh, now they got beef? Oh, we have gone viral. You know I love basketball. It's become the best of both worlds for me, as I love watching hoopers get up and down the court, strategizing on how to make the best of each possession. You know what else I love? I love some tea, maybe a little bit of drama. I'm not opposed to it. But lately, the drama of basketball has overtaken the game, and to be honest, I hate it. You've got big media personalities who drive the ratings for certain shows, but they couldn't tell you the head coach's name of a small market team. You got fans who spend their time online looking up trade rumors and trying to find out who follows who on Instagram, hoping that that'll give them some insight as to where a player is going or wants to be traded next. People barely even know who won the last championship anymore. And then you've got folks like Stephen A. Smith who talk for a living, and oh buddy, they can talk. They've got opinions on this, they've got opinions on that. They're not even remotely trying to hide their fandom bias, and they feel like they've got carte blanche to say anything they want, even if that means questioning LeBron James as a father. Now today on Courtside Forever, I want to talk about LeBron James, who is the first player in NBA history to play alongside his son. We'll talk about whether it's fair that Bronny James was drafted by the Lakers at all, and we're going to talk about LeBron's role as a father in the midst of it all. So thank you for being here for another episode of Courtside Forever, because as parents, we've got the best seats in the house. Let's enjoy them. If you had the chance to open doors for your child, would you? And if so, at what point does that support become nepotism? Let's be real, when you hear the word nepotism, it's usually pretty negative. I don't know about you, but I picture some CEO's kid getting handed a high-paying job without earning it, or a terrible actor getting cast in a blockbuster film just because the director doesn't necessarily want to lose favor with the kid's parents. It feels unfair, and often it feels unearned. But when does parental support cross over into nepotism? Well, now think about it. If you run a business and your kid grows up watching you, learning from you, and eventually takes over, is that a bad thing? I feel like half the construction companies in this country are named Johnson & Sons or something like that. Should kids of doctors, lawyers, or business owners be forced to work in another industry just because of who their parents are? I don't know. That seems kind of unfair too. If I had an ice cream business, I would love to pass that business down to my kids if they wanted it, of course. And here's the thing that we don't really want to talk about. A lot of people benefit from some form of nepotism. If your parents help pay for your education, if they use connections to get you an internship, or even just gave you advice on how to navigate life, that's a form of privilege. I promise you, not everybody has that. But when we see it happening in sports, especially at the highest level, suddenly it's a problem. Nepotism runs rampant in sports front offices, and generally speaking, it's not much of an issue. But when a top 2 player in NBA history has a chance to play with his son, now we pull out the microphones. LeBron James is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. His son, Bronny James, is following his footsteps. That should be a great story, right? Well, not everybody sees it that way. Bronny's been scrutinized since he was a kid. Ever since Michael Jordan's sons failed to make the league, the basketball world was wondering whether LeBron's kids had any talent. Is Bronny good as his dad? Is he any good at all? The minute Bronny picked up a basketball, people started debating whether he was actually good or if he was just LeBron's son, when the reality is he's a little bit of both. Now, as an NBA player, the word nepotism gets thrown around a lot, with critics like Stephen A. Smith pleading with LeBron as a father to stop this, saying he's getting opportunities because of his dad, not because of his talent. But here's what people ignore. LeBron isn't just handing Bronny a career. Bronny's worked for this. Did Bronny have a noteworthy career in college? No, which you could argue had something to do with the cardiac arrest that he had at the start of his freshman year. He's put in the time. He has done the training. And if you watch his G League games, the kid's got skills. Could his last name have opened doors? Of course it could, but talent still has to back it up. My whole thing regarding the Lakers drafting Bronny in the first place is, could you have found a better player out there at number 55? Honestly, you probably could. There were a lot of players who went undrafted who had better college statistics and maybe even higher upside. But you know what those players didn't have? The ability to motivate the 4-time champion, the 20-time All-Star, 21 maybe, I don't know, and the best player on the Lakers to keep up the championship pace that he's been playing at for decades. LeBron supporting his son is fatherhood, not just nepotism. He's doing what every dad should want to do, and that is setting his kid up for success, giving him opportunities and guiding him throughout the entire process. We don't question this in other areas. If a dad owns a restaurant and his son grows up in the kitchen, eventually taking over, nobody really calls that nepotism. They call it the family business. So again, why is it different in sports? Let's take a step back. This conversation isn't just about basketball. Nepotism exists everywhere, but for some reason, we only seem to complain about it in certain cases. Think about Hollywood. Actors like Jaden Smith, Maya Hawke, Dakota Johnson, kids of famous parents who are thriving in the industry. There are some people that you're surprised to find out that they're even Nepo babies at all. John David Washington? Literally no idea he was Denzel's son when I watched him in Ballers for the first time because he was that good. Do they get opportunities regular people wouldn't? Absolutely they do. But if they're good at what they do, really doesn't matter. In politics is even more blatant. The Bush family, you got the Kennedys, there are all sorts of people who got into politics because one of their parents were in it. You've got generations of leaders passing the torch to their kids. Is that always fair? Probably not. But it's part of how the world works. In business, it's the same thing. How many CEOs are the sons or daughters of previous executives? Years ago, I worked for Skechers, and their CEO and president are a father and son. In fact, I would actually go through the corporate contact sheet from time to time, and I would find new people with the same last name as them everywhere. Harvard actually did a study showing that family-run businesses tend to perform better when leadership stays in the family because of the mentorship and early exposure. Now, what does that really mean? I don't know. It's really tough to say. It probably means less complaints, but that's probably because nobody's going to HR to talk about their boss when their boss is actually the main boss's son or something like that. So again, why is it that when a father helps a son navigate the NBA, people get mad? Well, there's an issue of, did this person actually deserve it or not? That's what a lot of this boils down to. Did George Bush deserve to be president? Should Skechers dissolve the family business? Honestly, who knows to all of it, but should LeBron have the power to get his son drafted? I mean, as I'm writing this, the Lakers have the second best record in the Western Conference, so I don't know. I mean, what can you really say about that? So where do we draw the line? At what point does mentorship and generational knowledge turn into an unfair advantage? This is where things get tricky because, yeah, there are cases where nepotism certainly is a problem, where someone truly undeserving gets handed an opportunity. But is that really what's happening with Bronny? The kid's worked hard. You'd have to be a real hater to dispute that. He's not just coasting because of his last name. And not to mention, he's still facing pressure. If anything, being LeBron's kid makes things a lot harder. The way opposing fans chant his name when he enters the game cannot make things any easier for him in the slightest. Most second-round picks in the NBA go their entire career without any notoriety, let alone this much in their rookie year. At the end of the day, what LeBron is doing for Bronny, it's not some sinister form of nepotism, it's fatherhood. It's what we should all want to see from dads, being present, being supportive, and giving their kids every possible tool to succeed. Sure, in my opinion, there's been a few missteps. Last year when LeBron tweeted out how a high school age Bronny was better than some of the current NBA players, I mean, that's going to put a target on his back for sure. Also having his agency dictate terms of his draft position, ensuring that he was available to be picked up by the Lakers and Lakers alone, it's not super great. But like I said at the jump, this is the first time this is happening in NBA history, and I think this whole story is incredible to see. So let's flip the script for a second. If you had the resources and the influence and the ability to help your kid, wouldn't you? If you can make their path just a little bit easier, wouldn't you take that opportunity? Because if you say no, listen, I'm going to be honest, I don't believe you. The world has had its fair share of absent fatherhood stories. The stories of dads who put their work first or neglect their kids. Some of LeBron's biggest controversies is the man too involved with his kids? The whole idea is pretty laughable to me, as I'm here to celebrate dads who celebrate their kids and will climb mountains to give their kids the lives that they didn't have. So I'm here for LeBron and Bronny. Not when they play my Pacers, of course, but outside of that, I'm cheering them on. Everyone's got their opinions, and people like Stephen A. Smith are going to criticize you regardless of what you do. At the end of the day, if you've got your family, you've got everything, because their opinions don't pay my bills. Thank you for being here for another episode of Courtside Forever, where our goal is to ensure that parents enjoy the best seats in the house. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend or two, and feel free to reach out with any comments or questions. I'm your host, Ryan Rucker, and I appreciate you being here. Take care.